Welcome to another live stream. I am live in the studio. It is Keith. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm just trying to get chat ready to go here so that I can put it on the screen and say hi to everybody that's here. So let's do that right away tonight. And let's see if we can get these going. First up, let's go back here and just double check. I think it was Chio in the house first. He says he's interested in how I'm going to use the third converter. That's obviously talking about tonight's topic. And if you guys don't know what tonight's topic is, let's drop that slide again on top of everything here. So you guys can see that this is the topic tonight. And so we will be focusing on the HyperDeck, and I had a different topic planned tonight, but I will share with you what happened in just a few minutes. So again, great to have you tonight here, Chio. Grish, not normally second place, but it's good to have you here tonight. Usually Grish comes in and gets that first seat. So we've got, again, Chio, Grish in the house. Gary from Juris Designs, good to have you with us tonight. We got Bert. Hello from Spooner, Wisconsin, 85 degrees. Well, it's good to have you. Thank you for joining us. We have Hank in from South Carolina. It's good to have you, Hank. Stop and thank. We have Marine X. If you want to give us your name, I would love to meet you. I don't think I've seen you before in our live streams. Again, I am Keith. This is Live Journey Production Studios, and Bert is here as well, reminding me to hit record, and I am now recording. I also have my cold drink here, and I got my hot coffee here as well. And it's good to have you here tonight as well, Jay. I don't know if you're live streaming tonight. Let us know in the chat, TVJ, if you are live streaming. Jay streams after me. I know John Barker and Adam Tao were on earlier today here to record. Adam's designed a new app that goes along with the new Blackmagic design. He also talked about his new plan to do monthly subscriptions. So if you want to get in before that starts on MixFX, you better get MixFX now because you'll be grandfathered in. So go over and check out. John Barker is here to record an interview with Adam Tao, who designed MixFX. Good to have you here, Harry, from Massachusetts. I don't know if you've been in the Harry, have you been in the chat before? I can't remember. Old age is setting in. That's my excuse. And I am going to stick with it. Let me just look over here and make sure the audio looks good. Yeah, it looks like my levels are good. If that's not quite loud enough, let me know. Let me boost that just a touch there. So again, I have a camera on my desk. Hopefully I'm going to be able to show you guys my HyperDecks. I use 3 Skycams when I'm doing my intro. So I unplugged one, plugged it back in. I've got to try to get it working. It's my Instance 360 Link 2, which is right here. You can't see it. Well, you can barely see the edge of it right here. So we will do our best to get it fired up. So yeah, and so if you don't have your name as a part of your channel, please share your name tonight if you are in the chat. If you can't chat with us, it's because subscribe and you're on tonight. You're trying to chat and you can't. It's because we have subscribe only chat enabled. So after 1 minute after you subscribe, you'll be able to chat with us. Thank you so much for subscribing. We talk about live streaming tech here, also live sound. I have the PreSonus Studio Live 32 SC console behind me. We were going to do some in-ear hookups, but one of my in-ears still hasn't arrived today, and my new network switch still hasn't arrived today, so I went ahead and changed it up and decided we'd talk again about the HyperDecks, and going to talk to you a little bit about key and fill. We're going to go into After Effects, going to talk about how you render a file with an alpha channel. So lots to cover tonight. Going to talk about the difference between the basic entry-level HyperDecks as well as which ones have key and fill, which ones do not. And we'll talk a little bit about the cost because they have gone up, but it sounds to me like we may see a change in some of the tariffs. So we'll see how that goes. Harry Rivera, again, Jay says, no stream tonight. I'm on a work trip. Well, good to have you here tonight as well. Yeah, Harry, thanks to you as well. God bless you back. Good to have you tonight, Joe. Little update on my healing progress. Many of you know that I posted a video here on my channel about breaking my ankle. My stitches still have not healed. It's been very frustrating, but still on the upward trend. Have events coming up in June that I have to do live sound for. That's why we're going to be doing a couple things here on live sound in the next couple weeks. But tonight we're going to focus in on one of my favorite tools in the studio, and that is my HyperDeck Mini HD Plus. And that is just one of the HyperDecks that Blackmagic Design has available. And they have a new HyperDeck shuttle that's going to be coming out, the Pro, which we're not going to talk a lot about tonight. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Not going to talk about the upper end HyperDecks. They go all the way up to 8K. There's separate controllers you can get with the 4K and the 8K. So I'm sure eventually we're going to see a 12K HyperDeck by Blackmagic Design, but those are outside of my budget, as well as really what I cover here on my channel. So good to have you here, Doug. Good to be able to chat with you all. So a little bit of announcement. In 2 weeks, we are going to do our evening Zoom gathering. So if you'd like to gather with other people here on the channel, all you'll have to do is go on to my website. Let me show you if you haven't already done this. You can go to my website, and I will put the link right now in the chat. We'll paste this in. Give me just a second here, and then I'll show you guys this page. Let's paste it in the chat. So you can go there later and sign up. So what you want to do is you want to go on to this page right there and fill out that form if you've never done it before. If you have my email, send me an email saying, Keith, include me in the Zoom. I will put that Zoom together in the next few days, and I will send invites to those of you that fill out that form. So what I need is your email to invite you. It's not going to be live. We'll go live at 4 o'clock my time, Pacific Daylight Time, because we've changed our clock, spring forward, fall back. So we have spring forward here in Washington. So it is Pacific Daylight Time, 4 p.m. We'll go live, and then we end in an hour on those nights. And then anybody who wants to be in that Zoom call at quarter after the hour of 5, we'll jump on that Zoom call. It will not be recorded. It will not be live. It's just a chance for people to come together. I'm going to share some updates in that Zoom call that I will not talk about publicly until the week after. So I am going to share some news inside that Zoom call. And so I hope that you guys will join me for that Zoom call event. Looks like one of my packages just arrived. So thank you, Shannon. So one of 2 of my packages did arrive. And again, we'll be touching base on that in-ear system, and we'll be networking thing, powering them over Ethernet. But if you'd like to be a part of that Zoom gathering in 2 weeks, so not next week, but the week after that, we'll go live at 4 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, and then at 5:15, we'll fire up that Zoom call. You can meet other people here on the channel. Sometimes we'll have 4, 5, 6, 7, just depends. I am going to invite a couple special guests. I hope that will be there. You'll want to put that on your calendar if all goes well. I will be making a really cool announcement, showing you a little video clip of some things that have changed here, as well as be hoping that a couple of these people that I would like to have in that Zoom call will be here. So don't miss that. That again is coming up in 2 weeks. So fill out that form. And again, you can go over to my site. The link is in description or in the chat. I will put it in the description tonight. Also, I do consulting, little commercial here, sponsored by me. This video is not sponsored, but I will let you know I do consulting. So if you'd like to learn more about live streaming tech, the ATEM Mini, the Pro, the ATEM Extreme ISO, you'd like to know more about the HyperDecks, you'd like to know more about Mix Effects, which is the app that Adam Tell wrote, that is an incredible app, still available for under $50. And so if you haven't got this yet on your iPad, it's iOS only. This is a great remote tool. If you're hooked up to your network, then it's remote. I can go anywhere in my house and I can control my ATEMs. And so I can switch between my ATEM Mini, my ATEM Extreme ISO 1, my ATEM Extreme ISO number 2. So that's a great tool. And Adam has written a new app. So go over again and check out that video that he did today with John Barker on Here to Record. And you go, Keith, do those guys sponsor you or anything? No. Again, I love to share what's going on in around my circle. I have not met John Barker. I have been on his channel and chats before, but I've never been interviewed by him. Adam Tao's been on my channel. I've been on Adam. I've been on with Adam, with other people here on our channel. And so anytime Adam comes out with anything new, I'm going to give a shout out. And I've been waiting for someone in that sphere to interview him. So maybe I'll bring him on the live stream at some point and talk about his new app as well. In the next couple months, we'll just see how that goes. So, okay. So let's see if anybody else has come in the chat. Looks like I've said hi to everybody. Let me double check my phone to see. Yeah, and I did say hi to Doug. Again, I want to say that you will have some people here that have channels, so go check them out. Some of those of you who join in the live streams, I get to participate in some of the things that you're doing. Some of you have YouTube addresses, but you're not really posting any videos on your channel. I would encourage you to do videos once in a while, especially maybe about your studio or what you do, so that other people that come on the chat can check you out and learn more about you, or maybe subscribe to your channel as well. Okay. DJ Ware is here. All running a bit late, but it's good to have you, DJ Ware, as always. There's a channel. Jay has a channel. Let's see, Doug has a channel. Let's see who else in here. Bert, I haven't checked out your page yet. Marine X, I haven't checked out your page yet. So go through and look at everybody here. You got Chio, you got Grish, you got Juris Design, which is Gary. You got Bert from Spooner, Wisconsin. Hank from Stop and Think. So lots of people here. Marine Expert, TVJ, Harry Rivera. So make sure you go out and check out those channels, or subscribe, or say hi to these guys on their channels. So let's do this. Let's put up the slideshow here. So obviously Blackmagic Design devices, pretty much all of their devices, all their switchers, their HyperDecks, some of the other devices. One device I bring up a lot on my channel, rarely can ever remember the name. I think I have it here. It's the Ultra Studio 4K. Sorry, I don't have a PNG of that. But so Ultra Studio 4K is a device similar to a HyperDeck in that you can see that you have an SD card slot. You have a little window there with the LCD screen. You can play videos from this device. It has an XLR input there you can see on the front. This has Thunderbolt in the back. It is the 4K version. So you could literally use this as a single camera device. You can also use this to go into your laptop. And so you could use it through Thunderbolt to be able to do key and fill. So you could take your graphics right from software on your laptop, go into the Thunderbolt port and then out of the 2 ports in the back. Now, I don't have a picture of this on the back, but check out that device. It's not a HyperDeck, but it in some way is like a HyperDeck and very similar to some new devices that Blackmagic Design says they're coming out with. The Media Player 10G is very similar to this Ultra Studio 4K. And so in reality, they're using Thunderbolt technology to go back and forth because you can pass video through Thunderbolt. You can do an alpha and a key channel. And we're going to be talking about an alpha and a key channel and what that looks like, what's it for, as we talk about HyperDecks tonight. So wanted to get this out of the way because this is not a HyperDeck, but you can actually use this device and you can create the same kind of graphics, and you can use that to display animated graphics on your live stream. And obviously you use it. And we'll talk about the A and B channels in the back of these devices and how you bring those into a switcher. Doesn't have to be an ATEM or a Blackmagic Design switcher. You could use a HyperDeck with other devices. But if you want to automate it, then you really want to have it all together, which is why I just put up a basic Netgear switch with the shadow. So you got the upside down shadow. So you need a network switch to network all your devices together. So once you network all the devices together, then let's go. Let's do this. Let's drag this over. Full screen. Let's go to switcher here, settings. Let's wait. I'll do this part live. So let's go to me and my laptop. And so there you can see the control software. That's a free software that you can download. It will detect your switchers if they're on a network. So you need to have everything on the same network. If you have a home network, you could have your switcher, your ATEM Mini plugged in your living room, and then you could be in another room in the house that has a network port that's on the same network, and you would be able to communicate from a laptop in one of the rooms. If you have wireless also on the same network, you could have your laptop connected to the wireless. You could have your iPad connected to wireless using Mix Effects to communicate, but we need to network everything together. And when you network it together, if you go to the bottom left corner, you have the settings wheel, and under HyperDecks, you can see your HyperDecks. See, my 3 HyperDecks are on the network, and if you update your firmware to the latest firmware and you download the latest version of ATEM control software, now you get these little images that populate, so it's easier for you to know this is my shuttle on my desk. This is my HyperDeck Studio HD Plus. This is my HyperDeck Mini, the old version, not the new HD version, which does not have fill and key. So the top 2 here can do a key and fill channel, or what we call an alpha channel graphic. So you're going to have a graphic with an alpha channel, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But again, so I have 3 HyperDecks in my studio. The shuttle is just really good at playing slow video footage, replaying footage. You could also record to it, but it does not have the ability to send a key and fill video into your HyperDeck. It has an HDMI out that will send a video feed, but there's a difference between sending a graphic that has 2 channels. We call one the A channel and the B the fill or the key channel. So one is like the fill, the overhead image, so an image like me, and then the key would be a background image cutting out the back. And I'll show you what that looks like on my iPhone on my monitor here in just a minute. So actually, I can throw that into a super source as well. So I wanted you to see that if you have your HyperDecks network together and your ATEMs network together, then they're all going to communicate. You could still use a HyperDeck with another device, but again, the control software is designed to integrate everything together. And so now the interesting thing is you have 4 slots, and my understanding is you can only do 4 HyperDecks. But since the update, I think 9.5.1, there's multiple pages. So I believe in some of the models that have like SDI outs, you can then do ISO recording using HyperDecks. And I believe that they'll all show up. You need to put in an IP address. So again, up here in my HyperDeck Mini, the old version, I have my IP address here. No input because it is plugged into my Extreme ISO number 2. So if I was to change, let's save this and go over to my Extreme ISO number 2, like that. Wow, it shut down. Let's bring this back up. There you go. So Extreme ISO number 2, we go down to the settings wheel, go up to my HyperDecks. So there it is, and I have it plugged into input number 7, as well as I have input number 6. I don't need this HyperDeck plugged in here, so we're going to do none and hit save. So 2 HyperDecks are on my Extreme ISO number 2, and 1 HyperDeck is on my Extreme ISO number 1. So let me just pause here for a minute and just remind you that the reason I have 2 Extreme ISOs is because I figured out how to combine them. And to simplify that, I'm using the second one. It has 2 HDMI outs. So those 2 HDMI outs come into 2 inputs in my first one. So input number 3 and 4 in my Extreme ISO number 1, which is the switcher with 8 inputs. I've taken 2 of those inputs and I've assigned them to my Extreme ISO number 2. And then I can then send out of that HDMI whatever channel I want. So it gives me the ability to go to 8 more channels into my Extreme number 1. And obviously I lose 2 of the channels on Extreme number 1. So you can do the math, 8 plus 6. That's how many channels that I can have. So 14 inputs by combining 2 ATEM Extreme ISOs. The other advantage I have is I could use the super source and set it up in my HyperDeck, in my ATEM Extreme ISO number 2, and then I could bring that on the air. So by just assigning it to an output and sending it out of the air. So again, that's why you'll see some of my HyperDecks are plugged into Extreme ISO number 2, and one of my HyperDecks is plugged into Extreme ISO number 1. And maybe another night we'll talk about how they're combined, and I'll put graphics up on the screen. But for tonight, we're going to focus on the basic setup of a HyperDeck. So let's go back to me and the slideshow. Okay, so now that I talked about how to network it, and you could use any kind of switch. So if you have a modem that has ports on the back, there's modems that have a switch built in, so that you're not just bringing the internet into your house and then a single cable out of it can go to a switch just like this. That's one way, but some modems have a number of ports in them. So as long as your ATEM was plugged into one of them, your HyperDeck in the other one, then those 2 things are going to start communicating. And then if it's a wireless modem for inside your house, and you had your iPad hooked up to it and your laptop hooked up to it wirelessly, then everything's going to see each other. So the ATEM control software will work better if it's wired. So if your laptop is wired into the network rather than wirelessly attached, but you can communicate either way. So again, just like you need to plug a toaster into an outlet, you need to plug your ATEM, your HyperDeck, as well as making sure that you have a iPad wireless laptop hooked up to it as well. And then the control software, again, which is right here on the screen, that's going to communicate to everything. So if I go back in here now, not to this settings wheel, which is the main setup screen for your HyperDeck. So you got to go ahead and put in the IP address. You go inside your HyperDeck and it will show you the IP address in the little menu. You plug that in here. You can tell it if you want an auto roll every time you cut to it. So we know that my HyperDeck 2, let's save this. Let's go back to my other ATEM connections, ATEM Extreme ISO. I do not have my ATEM Mini plugged into the network right now. So this is my Extreme ISO number 1. So if we go into the settings and we go to HyperDecks in the folder, you can see it's channel 7. So if I was to change the input we're in right now to channel 7, watch what happens here. So I'm going to go to Super Source. I'm going to go to, again, let's save this. Go into Super Source. We're going to go into box 2. And let me change it from my laptop. Let me go to my HyperDeck. Let's see what's queued up. Let's do something more fun here. We'll do my subscribe logo. So I'm going to now change the Super Source layout right there next to me to my HyperDeck, and I have auto roll selected. So this is what happens anytime you cut to that HyperDeck. So if I change the channel 7 up here on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, see it says HyperDeck. The one next to it says HyperDeck because this is Phil and Key. That's where I have my HyperDeck plugged into, channel 7 and 8, and we'll look at the back of a HyperDeck here in a minute. But if I bring up HyperDeck into the live show, either by clicking on it or transitioning to it, or bring it into Super Source like this, the video is going to automatically roll because I have that selected. So again, we go back to my laptop, we go to settings, and we have auto roll turned on. So now I'll turn auto roll off. Let me hit stop in the HyperDeck. I'm going to turn that off, hit save. Let's go back to box 2 again, change to my HyperDeck. And now you only see the video stopped because I hit stop on the HyperDeck. So now it's not auto rolling. So in order to have things automatically roll, you have to go into your settings right here in the settings wheel on the bottom, go from the general folder over to HyperDecks, and under the HyperDeck, you are going to select auto roll right there. You check this box, hit the save button at the bottom, and now you're ready to auto roll. So if I was to hit 7 right now, I'm going to disappear and it's going to roll my logo full screen. Even though this is a PNG, I'm not overlapping it by using a key. It's just going to roll like a video. So here we go. So there it is, rolling automatically. And if I was to switch to a different video, there's a different video that's also transparent. And then if I switch to another video, that's my logo. That's my intro video. So we will change that back to Super Source. So auto roll gets you going anytime you cut to that channel or you bring your HyperDecks into Super Source. Just beware, it is going to auto roll when you bring it into Super Source, or if you just bring it on the air, it's going to auto roll if you have that checked. Okay. So now let's go back to the slideshow. We're going to take some questions here in a minute, but let me put up one more slide here. So this is the HyperDeck I have. Again, apologize, it's not a PNG, but it's there. This is the front of my main HyperDeck I use in my studio. This is the HyperDeck Mini HD Plus. So it has 2 SD card slots. You can see it has a little speaker icon there. If you push that button, that little tiny hole next to it is a tiny speaker. So you can actually listen to the video audio to make sure it's working well by pushing that button. You can also push the button right below it, which turns on auto roll on and off. So that's another way that you can turn auto roll on, which is really great on the front of the newer HyperDecks. Below that is the headphone input. Next to that is SD card slot 1 and then SD card slot 2. And so if for some reason you're not familiar with those cards, here is an SD card right here. Let's just cut to my main camera so I can cut back. So a regular SD card. So there's 2 slots. And if you have slot 1 recording and slot 2 has an empty SD card next to it, once the first card fills up, it'll automatically switch over to the card number 2 as long as it's empty. And you even get a flashing warning. There's a little LED light next to card 1 and card 2 that lets you know that it's about to be full. So if you don't have an empty card in the slot 2 or no card in slot 2 at all, you better get one in there. So if you're doing a wedding, you could just swap cards back and forth and record all day long by just keeping a fresh card in the slot. So once card 2 is filled, it will start flashing. Switch back over to card number 1 if it has empty space on it. So keep that in mind. Again, this is one of the tools that you can use. So there's 2 card slots and you can put 2 SD cards inside your HyperDeck. Then next to that, you have all of the controls. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. I have a camera. Hopefully I'll be able to put that directly on my HyperDeck. And we'll be able to talk a little bit more about this. So I do have a video series here on my channel all about the HyperDecks, but tonight I wanted to do a live to talk about how to hook this up. But before we hook it up, let's just finish going through the front screen. So next to all the control buttons, so you have play, you have stop, you have record, you have a back button, a forward button, you have an input button, and the input button lets you change between inputs. We won't go too deeply into that. Next to that, you have the search. That's to go through the menus. We'll show you that here on the screen in a few minutes. Then you have menu. Below that, you have the set button. That's basically like an enter button, and that lets you go through a number of menus. Now, there's been a number of firmware updates for the HyperDeck. So you want to go into Blackmagic Design site. You want to download the specific HyperDeck software. And that software mainly is for you to do some basic settings. Just like when you first get your ATEM, there's some basic settings that you can go into and you can change those settings. Also, it'll let you know if you have your HyperDeck plugged in through USB-C, it will let you know that there's a firmware update and you can click on that and it'll automatically update your HyperDeck. There's also a new setting on the basic settings page for HyperDecks that lets you add the ability to connect to your HyperDeck now through the Ethernet port or through your switch. So now you can not have to hook it up through a USB-C cable. You can just update it through the network, but you have to turn that on inside the setup screen. And if you remind me in the chat, I will show you guys that setup screen later. Now, next to that, you have the countdown clock, you have the audio meters, you have the little window there, a very tiny little display of what you have playing in your HyperDeck. So if you just have a lower third logo, it's very tiny. So one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is how to get that on a bigger screen inside your studio, so you're not trying to operate your HyperDeck with that little baby screen that you see right there. So we will flip it around and we'll show you the back here in a minute. Now, to the right of that is a knob, so you can use that to go up and down or forward and back inside the menu. So keep that in mind. I think you can also scroll forward and back by holding that down, but again, I know that you can in the shuttle, but I never do that on there. So make sure you read the manual before you do that. But I do use it all the time for scrolling through the menus when I need to change them. And I did notice with the firmware updates, there is a lot more things that you can do inside a HyperDeck. Now you can actually network it so it can save directly to a hard drive on your network, and you can download files to it from your network. You can choose where that's going. It also can see my 2 ATEM Extreme discs that I have connected to them. So if I go in the menu of my HyperDeck Mini HD Plus now, in the setup screen, I can actually see the 2 discs that I have plugged in right now in my studio on my Blackmagic devices. So it sees the network, which is really, really fascinating to me. Okay, so that is a basic overview of the screen. You can see it tells you in the very top exactly what the file format is. Like right now, I'm streaming at 1080p, 2997. So that's what all of my videos need to be formatted. If you're streaming at 2997, everything you put on your HyperDeck needs to be formatted at that same frame rate, 1080p at 2997 frames per second. So if one of the files is not like that, if you have it at 30 frames per second, your HyperDeck is going to default to whatever you have to set it at. So keep that in mind. If you wanted to see everything on your SD card, then you got to format everything exactly the same. As one of the little issues with a HyperDeck. So now let's just flip over to the back and look at that. So on the back, you can see two different ways to power it. You can see the serial connections. Let me go full screen here for me. You can see that you have the Ethernet port. Above that, again, you have those remote ins and outs. You have the external disk, so you can record to an external disk. That's also the USB-C port that you're going to hook up to if you're going to update it, unless you go in settings and enable it to update through the SD, the USB-C port, as well as the network, which you can enable that again. Then you have the two references in and out. That next to that, you have time code in and out, so you can sync all your HyperDecks together. So if you are doing some automation and you're doing ISO recording using HyperDecks, then you would be able to link them all together so that they're all time code synced and they would start and stop together. So you can literally set it up so you push record on one or push record inside your control software, and all of your HyperDecks would automatically start recording all 8 inputs. Like if you had a device that doesn't have any internal recording, then you would be able to sync up all your HyperDecks by using time code. And that is really, really cool. You can enable those settings inside the HyperDeck settings. Then next to that, you have HDMI out and HDMI in. Now the HDMI out is just a clean out. So if you want to see on a monitor in your studio exactly what you have on the tiny screen with no information, then you use the HDMI out. But if you want more data or another clean channel, you have the option with the SDI out to have a clean channel out or a channel that has a bunch of information on the screen. And we're going to look at that as well tonight here in my studio, so you can see what that looks like. Now, the SDI channel can be turned on or off. So if you want information on the screen, then you can choose that. If you don't want any information, you want to send that like through an SDI cable all the way up to a converter, and on a projection, you could make it clean, and that gives you a second SDI out. So you could use this device at an event to play videos. You can have it play videos to a screen right there on your tabletop. And then you could also have it play videos out to a big screen using the other SDI out. So you have an HDMI out, and then you also have a split out the SDI that could be clean, or it can be covered with information so you know all the data about the video you're streaming, which might be important for whatever reason. So I leave the data in my studio up on my monitor so that I can see what things are, what the resolution is, and that the files are correct before I go live. So going through this device, the very top, you see the HDMI out. Below, you see the HDMI in. The HDMI in means that you can come directly from a camera. So let's say you have I have the Canon EOS R. It'll output 4K. So if I had my camera set for 4K, I can bring 30 frames per second 4K into that HDMI input and record inside the HyperDeck Mini HD Plus at 4K 30 frames per second. If I want to record at higher resolutions than that, then I've got to go up to a regular 4K HyperDeck, and then I'll be able to do 60 frames per second. And then, like I said, they have a larger 4K, and they have an 8K version of the HyperDeck as well. We'll pop over to that page and look at all the HyperDecks here in a moment. So again, so you have the SDI in on the bottom. You have an SDI out right in the middle on the bottom row. You have the reference in, reference out. You have time code in, time code out. You have HDMI in, HDMI out, so you can use a regular monitor. Where the older HyperDecks, you were limited with inputs and outputs in HDMI. And then you have the A and B channel. A is your fill. That would be like the video that you wanted to play. But if you wanted to use animated graphics and you want it to key out the background, like I put this shirt on for a reason tonight. It's a striped shirt. And if I was to put a graphic over me that flew across the screen that has any transparency, the more opaque the stripes, the brighter the stripes, the more stripes, the more moire you're going to get in the video. But if you have a alpha channel or a key channel, which is the B SDI out, if that's coming into your device as well, and you have your device set up to use the pre-multiplied channels, then that graphic will fly across the screen with a white layer that cuts out my shirt. So you won't get any more rays. So everywhere that graphic flies, you will have a layer that hides that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take you guys and show you a graphic with an alpha channel. And I've done this before. So let's bring up an alpha channel for my animated logo. So let's go into the super source. We're going to go into box 2, and now we're going to enable the key channel. So as this plays, I'm going to loop it. You can see it's just a white graphic. What that's designed to do is cut out whatever's in the background. Now, the only thing in the background now, right now, is black. But I can take that same layer and I could overlay it. So let's go ahead in here and let's do this. Let's put something in the background here. Put me in the background. So we're going to put me as the back layer. Then we're going to go into a key here. We'll go for right now into key number 4. Well, I know I can put this on the air. What is going on here? It's masked. So the graphic is on the air right now. See if I can get rid of the fill channel. So yeah, if I just get rid of the fill channel and change it to black, you can see now that I just have the black layer. I can't show you the white version of it, but I can show you the black version of it. So it's cutting out everything in the background. But if I change that back to the fill layer, now we have the fill layer on top of it, and we have the white alpha channel in the back cutting it out. The better way of seeing that is let's just go in here to super source. Let's open up a 4-box layout, and let's put box number 3 is going to be fill. Box number 4 is going to be key. Box number 1 is going to be me, and box number 2, let's see, what would be good to put box number 2? That would be really cool if we could somehow fill it with the graphic. So let's see, box number 2. What's in it right now? We'll make it my laptop. We good? Yeah. Okay. So now let's cut the super source. So now you can see the bottom 2 layers. Let's turn the logo off the air. So you can see the fill layer below me and the key layer on the right-hand side. So the fill layer comes into channel 7 in my HyperDeck, or in my extreme ISO. And the key layer comes into channel 8. And then over here in the software, if you go into super source, channel 3, I have HyperDeck 7 input. And then if I go to box 4, which is the bottom right box, you can see I have channel 8, which is the key. So now if I change this to the same fill layer, it's going to look identical. So again, I'm showing you what the key channel looks like because this graphic was rendered inside Adobe After Effects with what we call an alpha channel. And the alpha channel looks exactly like that white section over there. So as this thing is put over top of a shirt or on top of a graphic, or let's say it's a sporting event or it's a church service and you want a graphic to fly across the screen, maybe it flies from the bottom all the way up to the top right as a little bug up there. Whatever you want to do with your animated graphics, when you have a fill channel, which is the graphic itself, and then a key channel, anything that's transparent, like things are fading in and fading out below me, so you can see things in the background as it fades in and fades out, that's going to look a lot cleaner when you have that white cutout, which is basically the alpha channel, or we call the key channel, in the back. So the way you hook this up, again, is let's go back into box 2 and let's make that my media player 1. So the way you hook this up is that you take the A channel and you bring it in. Let's do this. Let's see, I can't bring another box on the air, but I can bring a key on. So let's take this key and we'll make it, let's see. No, we'll just do it like this. So take the A channel and go into a input in your ATEM. So if you have an ATEM Mini Pro, you're going to have to take 2 channels up to do this with a HyperDeck. So you're going to probably choose channel 3 and 4. And if you're like me, if you have an extreme or you have just an extreme ISO, you then might probably choose channel 7 and 8, the last 2 channels. So the A channel, you're going to go into the HDMI input number 7, and the B channel, which is the key, you're going to go into channel 8. Now, I know those are SDI outs, and your HyperDeck has an HDMI out. You can't use it for this part. You can use the HDMI out just to display videos in your ATEM. But if you want to use key and fill, you have to use the SDI A and the SDI B. So how do you do that? Well, you buy a converter like this. And that is the SDI to HDMI 3G bidirectional. They make one direction, SDI to HDMI. This one could be used either way. So if you have something you need to convert from HDMI to SDI, you can use it that way. If you have something you need to convert from SDI to HDMI, you can use it that way. These need to be powered over a power cable or USB-C, but that's what you use. So you're going to come out of the back of your HyperDeck again. Find that graphic right here. You're going to come out of the A channel. You're going to convert it with one of these, and then you're going to go in the back of your ATEM Extreme ISO channel 7, and then you're going to do it again. So you're going to come out of A channel, then you're going to come out of the B channel. You're going to convert that as well. So you need 2 of these converters. Again, you're going to be converting SDI to HDMI. So you're going to need a little SDI cable plugged in the back of channel A. You plug into the converter, and then out of the other side of the converter, there's HDMI out. You're going to come out of the HDMI out with another short cable, and that's going to go into channel 7. And then you're going to do it again in the back of your HyperDeck for the B SDI out on the top right. That's going to be converted again with a small SDI cable into the SDI in. You can see there's also a loop out over there. So if you needed to send that signal someplace else, you could. So you could use one HyperDeck and send it to 2 different devices using that loop out, or you could send it to an ATEM, also to a monitor if you wanted to do that. So you could still have access to that clean feed. You'd only do that in the A channel. You wouldn't probably want to have a clean feed of the key channel because that would just be crazy. So let's turn this graphic back off the air there. So then convert that, go back into the back of your ATEM Extreme. Now, if you buy a new device that has only SDI outputs on the back, you don't have to have a converter. So you don't need these if you buy the SDI model of the ATEM Extreme ISO. So, but then again, if you wanted to bring your laptop in or your Macintosh in or an Apple TV in or a Chromecast in so that you could do remote casting or bring in something from your laptop, like I can bring my laptop on the air simply by switching to it. So there's my laptop. So if you want to bring the HDMI out of your laptop, then you're going to have to convert the SDI with one of these to HDMI. So you can buy these bi-directional converters. They're a little bit more money. I think they're $20 more with a power cable. They're, I think, $25 or $15 more if you don't need a power cable. You're just going to use the USB-C port to power it, but they do need power. So I have a bunch of those under my desk. I have 2 for my HyperDeck Mini HD Plus. I have 2 of those for my HyperDeck Mini, and I have one of those we're going to talk about here in a minute, and that is because when you look at the back, you have an SDI out. So how do you get that SDI out with the information on it into your studio? You're going to use the converter as well. So you're going to convert the SDI to HDMI to a monitor, and then you're going to go inside the HyperDeck and you're going to enable the information on that SDI out so you can see all that data. So now what does that data look like? Let's switch videos here. So I'm going to show you guys right now. Let's go to my iPhone Skycam right now. Go into, and I'll take questions here in a minute. So just hang tight with me. I know I've been talking for a while and I apologize, but so I have a clean feed. So we're going to bring that clean feed down in the key channel down below. So we'll go into channel 4 and we're going to enable, let's see, channel 4. So here you go. So there is the output of my HyperDeck. So you can see on my HyperDeck right here, so I got cameras all around. On my HyperDeck right here, let's just loop this. So I hit the button twice and it loops. You can see it looping. So with that SDI out converted to HDMI, I can bring it in my BenQ monitor, which has 2 HDMI inputs. It's got a Thunderbolt input. It also has a DisplayPort input. So I can have 4 things on this 32-inch monitor at the same time. This is the BenQ 32-inch monitor. It also has some great features for color editing. So again, you can see that all that data is on the screen right there. So you can see I got the clock counting down. I got the Kodak over there, which is ProRes. I got ProRes right there, 1080p, 29.7. You can see it rolling. The source is SDI, even though it's been converted to HDMI. And then down here it says, coming from my HyperDeck Studio HD Plus, so I know which HyperDeck I'm displaying, I'm looping the clip. So if I turn off loop, it will change. So I know it's looping. You can see it's coming out of SD card 1 at 705. SD card slot 2 is empty. And the USB-C port in the back does not have an SD card on there. But if there was an SD card there, then you would be able to see how much space is available. So if you look really close there, you can see it shows me how much data is available that's empty and there's no card in there. Let's put a card in slot number 2. To move my coffee, let's put move my mic here, sorry about that. Put a card in slot 2. It's gonna read it. And now as you look up here, I have information on the screen about slot 2. There's really nothing on it. It tells you how much recording time is available. If I was doing 1080p 29.7 ProRes codec, I would have 3 hours, 48 minutes. I don't know why that's not focusing. But, and I'll show you guys that big screen here. So let's cut to channel. Let's see here. Where am I? Let's go to channel 4 full screen. So again, there is the information on the screen. Codec ProRes, 1080p at 29.7 is a format. The countdown clock. SDI is the source, even though I've converted it. Tells me it's my HyperDeck. I don't want this. It should focus. There you go. HyperDeck, that's what's playing. The clip is looped. I have something in SDI 1. I have something in SDI slot 2. I do not have a hard drive plugged in the background. I can also see my audio settings. So I know that that clip has audio playing because all this is on my screen. So now if I go into the menu, let me turn up my microphone. Let's go into the menu system. We'll hit stop. I'm going to go into the menu system. And let's see, is it here? Let's go over to storage setup. Hit set. Wow, is this not in focus at all? There we go. So we're going to hit set. Then I can scroll down with the wheel. That's my default setting for the resolution. So my files need to be at 1080p 2997. Also, that's what if I hit record and I had something coming in the back of it, it would record at 1080p 2997. Auto set date. You can go all the way down here. Let's scroll through. Video input. Drop frame reset output, level B, reference, time, frame fix, timestamp, playback, record, remote is on. So that's not the setting. Let's hit menu again. Let's go back here. Oh, there we go. So clean feed off. So we're going to hit set. We're going to do clean feed on. And now I have nothing on my monitor, so it's a clean feed now. So if I wanted it to be clean, I could make it clean. That's where you set it. Go back in here, hit set again. It's now off, and now you guys can see all the data is back on the screen. So that is how you change the SDI out to be a clean image. Let's change that again. 4 is going to be, 3 is going to be fill. And then let's just go through these videos. So hit menu twice to get out of that. So that is one of my videos. So let's let that loop. So again, using the SDI converter, you can come out of the SDI out on the back of your HyperDeck. Just so I'm making this very, very crystal clear. The back of your HyperDeck, you're going to come out of the SDI out. It's on the bottom in the middle. And then you go into the menu settings under the first setting, which is, hit stop here. The first setting is the record setting, and that's where you can go down. Let's just make sure. Under monitor in the menu on the HyperDeck, that's where you're going to find the settings for 3D LUTs. So you can load a 3D LUT. So if you have a Blackmagic Design camera coming into your HyperDeck, you don't want to load the LUT inside the camera. You could load it inside your HyperDeck. And then that would be the color science that would be used over your Blackmagic raw film. So you could then send that out of the loop and have it on a monitor so everybody can see what the video is going to look like, even though you're using a Blackmagic camera. So it's great for churches that are using a Blackmagic camera as their main camera and they don't have a LUT loaded. They could load the LUT inside the HyperDeck. So it's a great, great tool for you to be able to have a LUT loaded in it. So you have on that monitor page the ability to change the SDI to a clean out or a input data out. And you also have the ability to add a 3D LUT under the monitor menu inside the HyperDeck. So again, loop that. One more. So now I'm looping my stinger. So if I put that stinger over top of me, then it's going to cover everything on the screen. So you'll see now how important this is. So let me go to me and my logo. And now let's go into key number 4. And let's now bring key number 4 over top of me and turn on pre-multiplied. So right now you see it's kind of gotten the broke up edges because I need to enable pre-multiplied. So I'm going to enable that, and now you can see that those transparencies are nice and clean. I can be moving on the screen. I could be moving my shirt, and that is cropping me out. So where is pre-multiplied? Let's go back into Super Source. Transition. There we go. Let's stop this graphic right there. Let's change box, Super Source box. Let's do box 4 to my laptop. Let's go into key number 4. And right here is the pre-multiplied. Let's bring that full screen, laptop full screen. Right here is the pre-multiplied. If that's on, the graphic looks great. I mean, if it's off, it looks horrible. But if I turn it on, oops. One more. If I turn it on, then it looks great. If I turn it off, it doesn't look great. So again, understanding how this works is the difference between knowing how to use these transparent graphics in a live stream. So for whatever it's worth, I wanted you guys to understand the A channel and the B channel on the back of the HyperDeck so that you would know how to use that in your live stream. Now, if you don't have any alpha channel graphics, you have to create them or have someone create them for you. After our break here, we're going to go into After Effects, and I'm going to show you in After Effects after you design a graphic, how do you export it with an alpha channel? It's been a long time since I've done that in a live stream, and I do have videos here on the channel in my HyperDeck Studio HD Plus series, I believe, where you can go watch that video. So let's take a break here real quick. Let's stop this HyperDeck from running. Let's go in and put chat back on the air. Put my camera down here, chat on the air, and let's just see what's happened since I've been talking all this time. So chat on the air. Okay. Good to have Jason here with us tonight. Let's see, chat on the air. Good to have you, Vegas Hard Bags. That's Jason, one of my friends from Las Vegas. You can go back a number of weeks, and I did an interview with him live in his studio. I edit projects. You're strong with the force. I was researching this device this morning, and you're talking about it tonight. Yeah, well, YouTube is strong with the force as well because it served me up to you. So the HyperDecks are a great tool. Blackmagic Design came out with them to be able to record cameras. So they record. They also, some of them have the ability to play video back. In fact, all of them can play video back. Some of them can play it through HDMI. Some of them can play it through SDI. But the other thing HyperDecks do is they do animated graphics. If you create them and load them in, you can do animated graphics on the screen, and you'd use the A and the B channel. You can also use devices like I've said before, and I'll just throw it on top of me. You can use the Ultra Studio devices as well. I know that's in front of my face, but this device has Thunderbolt out that will let you do something very similar. It has an A and B channel out of the back, so you could create the graphics inside DaVinci Resolve. You could create the graphics inside Adobe Premiere Pro or inside After Effects, and then you'd be able to play those graphics from your laptop through the A and B channel because that Ultra Studio 4K has the Thunderbolt out, and that Thunderbolt out coming in to your laptop or your Macintosh or your PC can take graphics through that Thunderbolt port. Then out of the back of it, there's an A and B SDI out. And so check out those devices on Blackmagic's site as well. Let's continue saying hi here in the chat. So thank you for that compliment about being strong with the force. Marine X, I love my units. I have 3 referenced together and time code. They record extremely to the Blackmagic cloud. So yeah, Marine X, you're using these devices. Sounds like you're a guru as well. Adam's in the house. So Adam, I was talking about your interview with John Barker today about your new app for iOS. So if you want to put in the chat tonight what that app is called, I forget what it is, but it is available now. Go over and check out Adam Tao's video today on Here to Record with John Barker as they talk about Adam Tao's new app. Not only that app, but he also created Mix Effects, which is one of my favorite apps out there for my iPad. In fact, I have an iPad in my studio dedicated to Mix Effects. So I could go into my my SuperSource right now. So I could go into SuperSource. So here's a bunch of different SuperSource layouts. And so I could actually go into that in my Mix Effects, and I could change what's in different boxes. These actually have really nice animations when you go through them. So let's just play with them right now. I'll go into SuperSource to show this off. I'm in a 4 box now, but what would happen if I tap on a 2 box? You see that animation? So I can assign what's in those boxes, and it will change these shapes on the fly. Again, this app that Adam Tao created is amazing, and if you don't have it, you should have it. Now, I messed up my 4 box layout. I think I have a 4 box layout here that I just tapped on. So again, check out Mix Effects. Good to have Adam Tao in the chat tonight. The force must have told him I was talking about him and his app earlier. So good to see you, Adam. And as always, thank you for joining in. I'm honored to have someone who is a designer to be in the chat. That's really cool. Um, Jason says, have to leave early, filming another product and install tonight. Thanks for everything you do. Yeah, thank you, Jason, for allowing me to go to Vegas and be a part of what you're doing there with your channel, Vegas Hard Bags. So go check that out. And he also has Major League Fab. He trains laser cutting. So if you want to know more about that, he has two channels. One's called Major League Fab, and the other one's called Vegas Hard Bags. So if you need a hard bag for your Harley, he is the guy to reach out to. And really cool and great to be working with guys like that here in the world of live streaming and YouTube. Adam says, thanks. I just posted a behind the scenes video on how I produced my side of the live stream. New app is Route Effect for controlling routing on Video Hub and ATEM switchers. So every ATEM switcher has the ability to route to those HDMI ports. If you have an ATEM Extreme ISO SDI model, you can then have 4 outputs and you'll be able to route to those. If you get to the 2ME and the 4ME, you have lots of outputs. And Adam Tao has now designed a mix effects type app called Route Effect. And again, it is a subscription-based tool. You can try a free demo. If you want all the features, go over to Adam Tao's page and check it out. In fact, let me see if I can do a link right now. Let's do this. Let's see. This is a link to Mix Effects, and then we're looking for Route Effect. Again, this is not sponsored. I am just an Adam Tao fan. That should get you there. If you go to tao.com, you'll be hooked up. So that's one way to go. I found this link on tao.com. And so anyway, I haven't had a chance to try the demo yet, Adam, but I definitely need to have you in a live stream and we need to talk about what this does. Again, it will apply to many of us because we have the ability to route out of the ATEMs. And Adam, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it will work with the 2 outs in an ATEM Extreme ISO, the 4 outs out of the ATEM Extreme ISO SDI, and then the 1ME, 2ME, the new ATEM Extreme ISO G2, I believe it's going to work with, and all of the other switchers. And again, now it's going to be a subscription base because Adam Tao plans on designing a bunch of apps for those of us that use Blackmagic devices, and he has to be able to keep giving us updates, and he's never charged me for an update on Mix Effect, and he's added all kinds of features that I've asked for. So I'm one of those guys, even though I'm not a big monthly subscription or yearly subscription guy at all, I'm such a fan of Adam Tao's Mix Effect that I believe that we want to keep him building apps for us, especially those of us who are in the ATEM universe, Blackmagic Design universe. So thank you, Adam, for designing those apps. I think personally they are amazing. So Adam is chatting away here. Route Effect will work with modern ATEM switchers and all modern video hubs. Yeah, again, so video hubs, they are a device for routing inputs and outputs. You can learn more about that if you just Google Video Hub. Blackmagic Design has a bunch of those devices. And I said I would go to this page, so we're going to go to Blackmagic Design's page here. Let's go to products. Let's see if I can find the hubs. Adam, let me know if you know what category the hubs are under. Routing and distribution, I bet. Yeah, here they are. So me and the laptop. So here are all the different hubs. You have the new smaller hubs they just came out with. The bigger hubs are all here. You can see the prices. I will put this page link in the chat right now. So if you want to learn more about the video hubs and how you could incorporate those in your studio and then use Adam Tao's app, let me put the chat on the air right now. So there is the link. So that should take you there to what Adam's talking about. And anybody who has Mix Effect Pro will be grandfathered in. Adam Tao, I have the original version. So when you first came out with it, I went in, paid the $49.99. I think that's the Pro version. I think I was grandfathered in when you changed it up to be Mix Effects. You could download from one site, then you go to the Pro to download the Pro version with all the features, which I already had. But I think I'm grandfathered in, but let me know. It would be a bummer, but I get it if I had to continue using it with a monthly subscription. So, okay, Grish loves your 3-letter domain name, Adam. So again, I want to touch base right now on, don't have time to go into all the menu systems on the HyperDeck, but we've talked about how to hook it up. So again, 3 converters. I'm going to pop this on the screen again. So you need to network everything together if you're going to use it. Let me put my, so you need an SDI to HDMI converter, or you need the bi-directional converter, which is right there. So either one would work. But again, to come out of the back of your HyperDeck SDI A and B, you got to come out into the SDI in right there on the top. And then you come out the right-hand side where it says HDMI out, and you're converting SDI to HDMI. You're going to do this 3 times because you're going to do the A channel, the B channel, and then if you want to come out of the SDI out and get all the cool overlays on the screen, which I can't show you that without using my phone. So again, all the cool overlays, we will go ahead, change what's in box number 2. Let's see. Is that box 2? I believe so. So there is the SDI converted to HDMI with it set in the HyperDeck menu system under the, what page is that again? Let's go down here to the HyperDeck. We'll push the menu, not on the record page. Let's go over with the arrow. It is on the monitor page, and you change the clean feed to off. And that means that it will have that information on the screen. And if I hit the set button again, right there, then hit it again, it's going to turn that off. And now you see I have a clean feed. So hit it on again, turn that off. Now I have the SDI with the information on the screen, which is really important if you want to be able to do that kind of stuff. So you need a converter like that. Again, it's not a PNG, I apologize. And so you're going to come out of the back of your HyperDeck A and B with a SDI converter to HDMI. Come in the back of your device, pick a channel. If it's an ATEM Mini Pro, if it's the new G2 that you buy this summer, or if it's an ATEM 8, or if it's a rack mount 1ME or 2ME, you already have SDI, so you don't need to use one of these converters. You'll already have SDI, so you can come directly out of your HyperDeck A and B channel right into 2 channels in your SDI model. But again, anything else you want to bring in this HDMI, you'll have to still get a bi-directional converter or a HDMI to SDI converter, so you could bring that into your device. So, okay. So let's just commercial. This may have arrived. Let's look. It did. One of these boxes has that in it. I got lots of stuff, spent a lot of money getting ready to do live audio. And this is the other box. Both of these devices came from reverb.com. So one of these has that device in it, and the other one has a in-ear mix, one of these. So I have 4 in-ear mixes now. And now I also have the ability to power them over Ethernet. So next week, for sure now, all the parts are here. I even have cat cables. I even bought adapters. So in the back of the in-ear mixes, you have a 1/4-inch headphone out. You can see it on the top right, just the very edge of it on the top right. I have that to convert it on a long cable to 3.5. A lot of people that I'll be working with have in-ears with a 3.5 jack. So I bought the adapter to go from 1/4-inch stereo out to a female end so they can plug their 3.5 jack headphones into it. And I have my in-ears right here, and they have a 3.5 jack right there. And so we're going to hook all this up next week, and I'm going to give you the audio feed from one of those in-ears. And the cool thing about that is, let's go back to slideshow and me. Cool thing about that on the back of these is there's also a right and left out. So I'm going to be able to bring the audio from this device into our live stream next week. I wanted to do all this tonight, but as you can see, these boxes showed up in the middle of tonight's live. So it's a good thing tonight we were talking about the HyperDeck. It's a good thing that we had Adam Tao pop in and all of the rest of you pop in to tonight's chat, because it gives us the ability to cover something new tonight. And also talk about what Adam's got going here. So he says, don't worry about pre-existing customers of MixEffect with Pro in-app purchased MixEffect. Pro paid up front will be grandfathered in. Well, I am a grandfather now, and Dominic and I have officially launched some shorts on our new, not like shorts you wear, but shorts like you would put on Facebook or on YouTube. And let me move this software control over. And we're going to click on HyperDecks here, because I told you guys I'd show you the HyperDecks. But I also want to go to YouTube. So let me go to YouTube here. And I'll give you guys tonight the link to mine and Dominic's new channel. So I'm going to switch channels. View the channel. And there you go. So let's do the link up here. The Bennett's collectibles. So if you guys would like to know more, this channel is going to be all about things that I collect and Dominic collects. He's my grandson. We're doing a grandfather-grandson channel. He and I produced these 3 shorts with our iPhones. So I was teaching Dominic how to edit with his iPhone using an Adobe app, and he'll be on the channel here very soon, and we'll talk about editing on your phone using apps for the iPhone. That's going to be one of the live streams that we're going to do. We did all 3 of these shorts in my dining room, one on my Miles Morales 1/6 scale figure that Dominic and I bought together, one on my Johnny Depp Jack Sparrow that I purchased just for me in my studio, and then the Robert Pattinson Batman from 2000, I believe, is when the movie released, and part 2 is coming out very soon. That is a purchase that Dominic and I did together. And then we have a Miles Morales from another universe that is stuck in China until things change so they can ship it, but it's already prepaid. and that's going to be something. We're going to also have long play videos of unboxing. So if you're interested in all the things that I put on my shelf that I collect, things that Dominic's collecting, these 1/6 scale figures, then you can check that out. You can click on the link and you can go over and subscribe to other channel. No commercials over there except for what is forced on you from being a non-subscribed member or whatever it's called with YouTube. Then you'll get the regular YouTube commercials, but you can go over and watch those under 1 minute shorts, hit the like button, and maybe get a chance to see some of these incredible 1/6 scale figures. Now, these are all hot toys. We're going to buy other figures as well. I have a whole bunch of Batman McFarlane collection that we're going to be talking about as well. So people that just want quick videos will be able to find shorts on there. We're actually going to have more short videos than we will have long play videos on that channel, because we understand that there's lots of people that are just wanting to check out these figures. So we have flybys and some cute little voiceovers. So they're not long, so check those out and subscribe to that channel. I really appreciate it. Again, that is Bennett's Collectibles. Dominic is my adopted grandson. My daughter adopted him and his brother and his sister, and he decided to take my last name as his middle name. My daughter is Van Corback, so Dominic has taken on both names, and so thus we are calling the channel Bennett's Collectibles. It was his idea. It's the name he picked, and so I'm helping him build that YouTube channel, and eventually he will run it without my help as he gets older, and that's a lot of fun. I've had Dominic on the channel before, so go back and check out some of those videos. But we're going to talk about collectibles here on this channel, but I wanted to let you guys know that I now have 1.5 channels on YouTube, because it's half his and half mine, so really cool. So, okay. So before we look at the HyperDecks on Blackmagic's site, let's just catch up with the chat. It's good to have you here, Tony. We've been doing lots of stuff. Great bonding experience for you and Dominic. Absolutely. Looking good. Thank you, Joe. We are trying to grow together, and I really believe for my grandson and my grandkids, I want them to know what their grandfather does. So Dominic's old enough to participate. As they get older, my other grandkids are going to make cameos on my channel. It's not made for children, it's made for adults, but in reality, they're really important to what I do. They're learning some of the things that I'm doing, and so because of that, I want them here on the channel. Dominic's actually going to help me at one of these tent events coming up, so he's going to actually do some learning on how to do live sound as well as video editing. So right now we're working on iPhone apps to edit video, so he can do it on the fly on his iPhone. And then we're going to go to the laptop and show him how to use DaVinci Resolve as well as Adobe Premiere Pro. So I did promise to do this, so let's do this really quick. Let's go. Where do we want to go here? Let's do this first. Close that. I'm opening Adobe After Effects, so that'll be ready. Let's go to Blackmagic Design site. Here are the HyperDecks. So you have the HyperDeck HD that does not have key and fill. Let's increase the size of this. So this top one does not have key and fill. It doesn't have the A and B channels, but the one below is the one that I showed you guys here in my studio. This does have alpha and beta, or A and B channels. So do not buy this one if you want to do A and B channel SDI animated graphics with the key and fill. Do this one here. These do as well. So you've got the HyperDeck Studio HD Mini. That's great for recording video and playing back video, but not for animated alpha channel graphics. Then you get the HD Plus, which does have the A and B channel. It will do up to 2160 at 30 frames per second, so you could record 4K at 30 frames per second directly from your camera if it has that available coming out of the HDMI out. I have 2 cameras that will do 4K 30 frames per second. I believe 4:1 out of the Canon EOS R. I have 2 of them, but my Canon 5D Mark IV will record 4K, but it will not output out of the HDMI out 4K. So keep that in mind. But if you do have a HyperDeck HD Plus, you'll be able to still, at a wedding, use your HyperDeck, record all day long, 30 frames per second at 4K, which a lot of people don't realize that. So you don't have to record in camera. You can come out of your camera into the HyperDeck HD Plus and be able to record at 4K. Then you have the Studio HD Pro, the 4K. The 4K will go up 2160, 60 frames per second. And when you go to the HyperDeck Studio HD Pro, you get the bigger discs. So you have the little SD cards right here next to them, but you also have the bigger discs. So you can go from the larger discs and the SD cards on those devices, and they have USB-C out, and you could use a disc like these out of the SDI. Let's see, let's just go like this. You can use these out of the back of a HyperDeck using the USB-C port, or you can buy one of the bigger ones like that that are on the screen. Then you get to the bigger 4K, and it has a controller that you can get with it. So the 4K and 8K, you can add this controller. That's overkill for me. The shuttle is great for HDMI in, HDMI out, but it does not do alpha and fill and key. It only does a HDMI in or HDMI out, but it also is a teleprompter. So you can load teleprompter files right out of Microsoft Word, rich text format files, and they will play inside the HyperDeck like a teleprompter. So you could put that up on a screen and read from it, or you could put it on a one of the devices, prompter devices that will reflect a monitor, and then you could use it as a teleprompter. So the shuttle is great. You can hit the jog and the scroll wheel and scroll forward and back on that big, beautiful wheel right there. Now they've combined, I call it the Franken shuttle, because they have put together a monitor with the shuttle. You can see it's like they blended two devices together, and this is full of great features. I did a whole live stream on this device a few weeks back. I do not have one yet, but that is something, after I get my sound dialed in this summer, that is something I want to add in the fall to the studio and do a whole training series on the new HyperDeck Shuttle 4K Pro, which will probably become my main device. It does, let me repeat, it does have fill and key coming out the back of that. So it will now do what my HyperDeck Shuttle HD Plus will do, and I love the monitor. I'm probably going to have two of those eventually, one to take on the road with me to big tent events, and I'll be recording directly to it and then playing videos on the big screen from it. Who knows? I might even do some instant replay to play around with it with DaVinci Resolve. We'll see. But integrating that, it's got a 10G Thunderbolt port, a 10G port on the back, which will let you integrate it in your network, in your studio or in your remote studio, and you'll be able to now download and upload files, at super fast 10G transition or whatever you call it. It's 1645 when it comes out. The shuttle's $545. You can see $1,400 and $1,425 US to get the Extreme Control. To get the 8K, you're going to spend $5,400 US, $3,200 for the 4K model. These two devices are $1,000 and $1,755. You can read about what the differences are. And then you have these two HyperDecks. Again, if you just want to record and sync everything together and use it for ISO recording, then just buy a bunch of the HD minis and you can record directly to them. You can link them together using time code. And then you could have 8 of those in a bank, recording 8 inputs, and then you can sync them all together with time code and hit record and they all start, hit stop and they all stop. So that's a great option for just recording or playback a video. But if you want to be able to do A and B graphics, you need to get one of the devices that offer a alpha and a key channel. So, okay. So now I want to go over here. How are we doing on time? 5:30. I have a meeting tonight at my house, so we've got to wrap up very soon. Let's go into After Effects here. Let's open up my subscribe animation. There it is. In After Effects, let's go full screen. Let me scrub through this and show you this animation. I changed it a little bit tonight so it wiggles. It's got the share. So I created this. So I didn't buy it. I built this, and I don't use it a lot live anymore, but I have in the past to add subscribers. So it has the like, it has the ring, and I did all this animation using After Effects. It is basically a part of the Adobe Design Cloud package that I have. I pay $60 a month for that package. It is a subscription, but I have access to Lightroom, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe Audition, which is a great recording software. I can build up a video in Adobe Premiere and automatically output it to Adobe Audition, correct the audio in Audition, and then import it back into Premiere Pro. I love that integration. Maybe we'll do a video on that one of these nights. So how do you get this to have an alpha channel? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So after this is built, how do you get it as an alpha channel? So we're going to go up to File. We're going to click on Export. And when you get into Export, you have a number of options. You have the ability, what I like to do when I'm exporting alpha channel graphics, I like to go export to Adobe Media Encoder Queue. So that is going to open up a complete, you can export to Adobe Premiere, you can see there. You can add it to the render queue, which is just a folder down below in Adobe After Effects, but I want to go to the media encoder. Gives me more intuitive control. It's easier to send it where I want it to. So if I want to go directly to an SD card, just a lot easier from there. It's easier for me to make sure that I'm exporting it ProRes with an alpha channel. So let's go over there now. So I'm in the process of opening up the Adobe Media Encoder. So give it a few seconds here. That should open up on our screen. There it is. So should be adding it. Give it a second here. There it is. So it's been added up here. So first thing you want to do is you want to go in here to the source. And can I make this bigger? Nope. So let's see. Can I shrink these windows down? And can I make this window bigger? No, so I can't. So you have two choices here. You have the format. You're going to go down to QuickTime, change it to QuickTime. You're going to go over here to the next icon. You're going to go down here until you see Apple ProRes 444 XQ with alpha. You notice the rest of these, there is other alpha options. You have Apple ProRes up here, HLG. You have Alpha PQ. You have 44 with alpha. I can use this Apple ProRes 44 with alpha. So we'll go ahead and click on that. So what it's doing now is it's making a graphic animation with that background that we talk about, that background image. And again, so it's going to look very similar. Let me get ready to hit stop here. To this, let's just switch to, how do I do this the fastest way? Let's switch to channel 8. Hit stop. There you go. So that is what the alpha channel is going to look like when you're animating this. That looks like this without the alpha channel. So that just plays. And so we'll cut back to me. So going back into here, let's get back into Super Source. So let's go ahead and it's ready to go. QuickTime, Apple ProRes 444 with an alpha channel. I want to send it directly to the SD card. So let's call this subscribe. And we're going to change this. Going to pull my SD card out of my HyperDeck. Gonna insert it. I am going to choose it right here. Where is it? There it is. HyperDeck. Got my files on there. I already have a please subscribe new. Please subscribe. This one I animated, I rendered earlier. We're going to send one here right now. I'm going to click save. So that's where it's going. It's going to be called Please Subscribe 3. We're going to hit the little play button up here, which is going to render it. You're going to see a preview down here on the bottom, and you're going to see a timeline as it's rendering. We're going to let that render for a second here, and we're going to catch up in the chat. So let me put chat on the air. It's going to be done here in a second, and I don't see any new chats, but I will pop this up. You're looking good too, Joe. I see you. Ratso says hi. Okay, it says it's done. So let's go over and look at the folder here. And let's see, there it is. Please subscribe 3. Now, I'm going to leave it on there just for a few minutes. It might mess up my outro video when we leave tonight. Let me pull the disc. Let's just to be safe, I'm going to hit eject. It's ejected it. I take that disc, put it in my HyperDeck. We're going to change what you're seeing on the screen to my control software. Right here. We'll go up to the HyperDeck folder on the top right, and we're going to look at that disk. Let's see, it's this HyperDeck right here. Says no clips. Sometimes in the middle of a live stream, they do not populate. Let's try that again. Let's just pop out of here and back in again. Connection to extreme ISO number 2. It's very hot in the studio. I'm still recording, so it hasn't timed out like it's done in the past. Okay, so now let me go back into that device, see if I can get a readout from the HyperDeck. It's a bug I've seen occasionally. It doesn't read. If I pull the disk out when I'm live, it doesn't show what's on the disk. Again, it's not. Let me try in the other slot. There we go. So please subscribe 3. Okay, it is queued. Let me cut to the HyperDeck live. And there you go. That's the graphic that we just installed. And it is playing. Should be a little wiggle on the bell. There it is. That's how I know it's the new one. And that will continue to play to the next one. So that's how you render an alpha channel graphic. So now we're going to requeue subscribe number 3. And let's bring up the 4 box as we wrap up tonight. So let me go back to the 4 box. Box 1 is going to be me. Box 2 be my laptop. Box 3 is going to be Key. Box 4 is going to be Phil. Now let's bring SuperSource on the air. Let me play this real quick. And switch to SuperSource. So let's turn my logo off. So there you go. There is on the bottom below me is the A channel, and on the bottom right is the B channel. Again, The channel below me comes in input number 7 on my ATEM Extreme ISO, and the B output of the HyperDeck goes into channel 8, and I've assigned channel 7 to that box, and I've assigned channel 8 to that box. Normally, they're not separated like this when you display them, but because they are two separate inputs, I can do this demo. They're layered on top of each other. So normally, they just look like a regular graphic. If I go into my downstream key, and let's get to my downstream key here. Let's see, I think downstream 2, we'll assign it to my HyperDeck fill and key. We will turn pre-multiplied on, and let's bring that on the air. So there it is. So normally they're layered like that. You don't see the second layer, but I've separated out so you guys can see what an alpha channel looks like. Now, if I don't render that with ProRes 444 with an alpha channel, then you're just going to get a graphic that has no key out in the back. Even though it's coming, it's in your HyperDeck, and even though you're playing it, if it doesn't have an alpha channel, nothing's going to play out of B. What'll normally play out of B, if it's not a pre-multiplied alpha channel graphic, is another version of that channel right there. So you'll see 2 of them. And it's a telltale sign you didn't render it right when you separate them out on your monitor, and you can see in your super source. And you can see, guys, tonight I have this set up. Let's go to key input number 4. I have this set up so I can see my fill channel and my key channel right there in my super source. So I can assign whatever I want to the boxes. So tonight I assigned that box to channel 7 and that box to channel 8. So I can see that I have a fill and a key channel as I do this tonight. So again, if I flip over to that one as well, I can see both channels. So that one is an example of one that wasn't animated correctly. And actually, this is the alpha channel. It's white because that's the way my logo is, and that is the that's the fill channel, and that's the key channel. They look the same because it's a white graphic over a white background. So that one always throws me when it's in my device. So that is now looping, and it's really cool to be able to show you guys how a HyperDeck works and how an A and a B SDI output can be brought into your switcher, and you can use it to do these animated graphics. So, okay, guys, again, next week we are going to be live again. We are going to be hooking up the new switch. PreSonus has the switch that I'm going to be unboxing. Again, it's used. I bought both of these devices. Actually, I bought every single one of my in-ear mixes used, like brand new, from 2 different locations, one from Guitar Center, and one of my my stage boxes from Guitar Center. And now I have 3 in-ear 16M stage in-ears, monitors, boxes, whatever you call, in-ear mix. I have 4 of those now, plus the network box, and we are going to be putting them all together and powering them. Again, I'll put this over my face. We're going to be powering them with this new device because it is PoE. You can see the big button on the right-hand side. So we'll be unboxing this next week, and I will be hooking up 4 in-ears. I will be sending you guys the feed from one of them so you can hear music I'll be playing from my channel through my iPhone into the in-ear, and I will have my in-ears in listening, and you'll be able to listen in because I'm going to bring it into the live stream. So I hope you'll join me for that. We will have Dominic on the channel pretty soon. Again, I want to give a big shout out to Adam Tal for joining me tonight. Let's just say good night to everybody that's here. Good to have you, Akil. Thank you for joining in the live stream. Remind me how to do the stinger and change inputs. Remind me how to do the stinger and change inputs. I'm not sure exactly what you mean here, Joe. Remind me how to do the stinger and change inputs. So if you have a stinger, right, you have to use a key. So upstream key, downstream key, you have to choose pre-multiplied if it has an alpha channel, and then you just turn on that key. And if you designed it as a lower thirds, like my subscribe, it'll appear down here. If you did not design it as a lower third, then it'll just appear right in the middle of the screen as an animation. And the stinger, right, that's designed to be used during transition. So when you change from one camera to the other camera, you have a macro designed to have the stinger play in the middle. And I have videos here on how to do that. It's a great way to hide transitions if you want to put the stinger on the screen. And again, if you guys don't remember what a stinger is, this is my stinger playing right now. Let's just put it over me. So there it is over me. And if you're going to use this to change cameras, it would be like this. Camera angle change. Change back. And hide those transitions with the stinger. Turn the stinger off the air. And for some reason, I got him stuck in between. That's driving me crazy. So I'm going to stop that. So again, HyperDecks do multiple things. They have different type of HyperDecks. Some of them record HD, some of them record 4K, some of them have big screens, some of them have tiny screens, some of them, like the shuttle, have no screen at all. So you need to use the HDMI out to display it on a monitor. Some of them you have the ability to bring in a clean out as well as an information out, like the HyperDeck Shuttle HD Plus, and the other ones have the SDI out that you can turn on a clean or a non-clean output. You can see all the information on the screen. That's really cool. And they have a new HyperDeck Shuttle coming out that has fill and key. You can record in it. You can use it for instant replay. It has the ability to integrate with DaVinci Resolve on your laptop. So really, really cool device. And the new Blackmagic Design ATEM Extreme ISO G2 will even have that Thunderbolt ability. So you can then send an alpha and a fill channel, or a key and a fill channel through the Thunderbolt, and not have to take up two devices or inputs on your new G2, because you can then design graphics in DaVinci Resolve and you can output them with the key and the fill channel directly through Thunderbolt into your live stream. And that's going to be really interesting to test that feature out if I ever get a G2. So if you don't know what a G2 is, Blackmagic Design announced the new Shuttle Pro as well as the new Blackmagic Design ATEM Extreme ISO version 2 or generation 2. And it has a lot of new features and different types of buttons, new level of audio, XLR inputs, as well as MADI input. So it is a lot more features and it costs a lot more money. And as we go out tonight, we will pop over to that page and give it a shout out right now. So there it is. So you have the ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini Pro ISO, and then they go right to the new ATEM Mini Extreme ISO G2 with tariffs now from Australia. It is $21.95. They announced it at $19.95, so $200 more right now. So if you wait, they're coming out in June. Who knows? You might be able to pay less for it down the road. All of these are at different prices, and you can see all the different switchers that Blackmagic Design has available. You got the rack mount devices. You have the desktops that are actually controllers. Some of them ISO record. Some of them are 4K. They can create and stream 4K, but you cannot ISO record all the 4K channels. If I bought one of these, I would definitely buy the ATEM Television Studio HD 8 ISO, because I just like to be able to ISO record all my channels, but I don't need a big control surface like that. So there is the rack mount versions all the way up to the 4K, 8K, and then you have the different advanced panels that are used to operate these devices that are rack mountable. And you can use mix effects to control these devices right here. So, and then you also have the new camera panel, and you have the ATEM camera control panel. So if you just want one panel, you have it right here. If you want to control up to 4, you have that control panel. This was newly announced at the spring of 2025, so I'm not sure if they're available yet. And they always say new on the new devices. So this is the new ATEM 4ME Constellation 4K Plus, and you can see it's in this giant rack mount device. So that's new. Obviously, this is new, the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO G2. So I did a video on the channel about that as well. So lots of devices available by Blackmagic Design. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you so much again for joining me. Adam, it's great to have you. Thank you for coming in. Juris, thank you for all the nice, kind things you say. But the wipe you have in the Stinger, how did you play the Stinger? So, but the wipe you have in the Stinger, how did you play the Stinger? Played it through my HyperDeck. So I'm just hitting play in my HyperDeck. I can put it on the screen as input 8, like this. Seven, like that. And if I want to put it over me, cut back to that channel and turn on my downstream key, which is assigned to HyperDeck fill and key. So I'll show you that real quick. My downstream key right here, number 2, I have fill source set to 7 input, my HyperDeck fill, and I have key source set to channel 8, and I have mask off and pre-multiplied key on. And if I hit on the air right now, that's gonna play right over top of everything. And if I turn pre-multiplied off, it will look like this. Black edges and blotchy, but pre-multiplied gives me nice, smooth, transparent animations. And I can just hit stop, and it's just stopped in the background, turn my downstream key off. So hopefully, Joe, that answered your question as we get ready to roll out tonight. So, yeah, I can do macros as well, but I've been doing everything mostly manual tonight. I do have a couple macros that I've pushed buttons on as well. I use macros every single live stream. I have a macro for my still image on the screen. So there you go. That's the macro that puts my still image up. I have a macro that turns on the logo and cuts to this camera. I have me and a laptop macro. I have camera 3 and a logo. So there I am looking at camera 3. I don't think I have a camera 2 on here. Lots of macros that I use, and I really didn't design any macros tonight. I just used some of the older macros. So hopefully that answers your question. Joe says, does the Stinger button on the ATEM do anything? As of right now, the Stinger button on the ATEM doesn't do anything. So one day they might make it work, but right now it does not. Thank you, Hank. I appreciate that. We are going to roll out now. Again, I hope you guys will tune in next week as we wire up the in-ears or ear mixes by PreSonus, the 16Ms, 4 of them, using cat cables through a switch, powering them, and then we're going to play music through them to you live, and we're going to talk about why I bought that kit. I want to have 5 total, but I can only, through one switch, I can only power 4 because it's 4 outs and 1 in. So I can send a signal to the board, to the switch, and then 4 outputs out to the device, and that again will be next week. I hope you guys will join me. I'm Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios. Always, thank you for tuning in. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. Go over and check out Bennett's Collectibles. If you can't find the link in the chat and you just want to find it, Google Keith Bennett Google 1/6 scale figures, Bennett's Collectibles, and I think those shorts will pop up. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hope you'll go over and subscribe to that channel if you want to know more about the collectibles in my studio and in Dominic's house. And so anyway, there are 3 shorts up right now, so go check those out. Until next time, have a great week, guys.